Ripple XRP, so we could potentially be seeing a fiat currency collapse, and Ray Dalio explains it very well. We are also going to be taking a look as to why the New York Department of Financial Services removed XRP from its green list after it was ruled that XRP is in and of itself not a security. We're going to be taking a look at the numbers and figures for the US national debt and also the tokenized financial assets in the next 6 years and their value and how much it will be worth, and the Ripple partnership with HSBC, and of course XRP coin's price today. All I ask from you are two things, which is to smash that like button and to subscribe to the channel as well. So Ray Dalio has actually laid out the line over here, and he explains what happens when a fiat currency is going to a collapse. And from Bitcoin therapists, we've got debt holders are selling, central bank prints money to buy debt. So obviously you have the currency essentially devaluing, because when you have that money printer, it essentially increases the circulation and devalues the dollar. So let's take a look at this.
Indicators of when a fiat currency is going to decline and to collapse is when those who are holding its debt sell the debt, and the government, central bank, has to print money to buy that debt in large size while that's going down. Those are the most important indicators. So that you can see it, again, I want to repeat, selling the debt so that there's a big supply-demand imbalance, and the central bank having to come in there and buy the debt that no one else will buy in large quantity, so that then there's a currency devaluation. You have those three things aligned, the currency devaluation going down at the same time as those other two things are happening. And that's been a classic. It's like a bank run. They come to the bank, there's not enough money in the bank, and so they have to make up the difference by the printing of money.
And this is a problem when they're going to be buying up the debt. If they increase the money supply, of course, it is going to increase the amount of inflation that we have, because the money at that point becomes worthless. And this is a problem because it causes that inflationary pressure. Now, also, we must mention the US national debt. Now, the last time I actually checked this figure, it was at around about $33 trillion. Now, that was probably a couple of weeks ago. And you'll see over here that we have now topped off at 34.1 trillion. And actually, it shouldn't really say topped off, because I think that we will be increasing this amount of national debt. And so it is also growing at the rate of almost $3 trillion per year, way above government estimates. So it's out of line with what they have predicted. Now, interest on the debt is now over $1 trillion per year, and it should be $1.3 trillion per year within 12 to 18 months. By 2030, it could be $3 trillion per year. So if we are already at 1 trillion, we're going to increase it by 2 trillion. It's only going to accelerate even more. And we'll actually be able to check the numbers over here. And if we actually have a look back in 2003, you can see it was way lower, just above that 250 mark. And then just after 2019, that's pretty much where we accelerated. I would say 2020 to 2021, we've had that massive spike up. It's really not good news for us. And in terms of the national debt in general, the reason as to why it is a big problem is because it's not sustainable, of course. We're just going to see that ceiling increase. And in terms of the share of the global debt, the US currently holds 34.21%, compared to other countries such as the UK at 3.57%, China at 15.13%. So it's a bit higher for China, just under half in terms of the USA, and Japan 11.12%. But we know that the debt to GDP ratio for Japan is increasingly high, and it is a big problem for them. And we will only be building up this debt because we will only be spending more and on services such as, for example, military. So we're going to be having a lot of pressure with that. Now let's take a look at this. We have from Meta Lawman that the New York Department of Financial Services removed XRP from its green list after Judge Torres ruled that the XRP token is not security, and he wanted to find out why. Now, I haven't watched all of this video, and I'm not going to be playing all of the video for you because there is quite a bit of a build-up. I will summarize the ending of it, but I just want to show you the beginning part.
After the ruling came out with Judge Torres that XRP in and of itself is not a security, what happened in New York with the NYDFS, Jay?
Less than 2 months later, the New York Department of Financial Services came out with an update to their green list. Now, I have been complimentary of the New York Department of Financial Services for having a green list that the SEC does not have. And this green list says if you're an exchange, you can offer these tokens to New York residents, you're good. If you want to list a new one, then you've got to go through a process with us, which again, that makes sense as well. So I've been, complimentary of how it's been approached. And so XRP has been on the green list. And so after Judge Torres ruled that XRP traded on the secondary market is not a security, less than 2 months later, the New York Department of Financial Services updated their green list and withdrew XRP from the list. It's no longer green listed for residents of New York to trade in XRP on any platform that has a bit license that can operate in New York. So this struck me as kind of odd.
So obviously it doesn't make sense as to why they took them off the green list. Now throughout the rest of the video, he basically says that he submitted an FOI request in order to obtain any sort of documents, emails, to then determine as to why XRP was removed. Now, so far with that FOI request, usually you have deadlines. However, it has been extended 2 times, and he hasn't actually received anything as of yet. No statements from the New York Department of Financial Services as to why it was taken off of the green list. But what he is currently doing is he is getting a lawyer that specializes in FOI requests to help him out, because he wants to get the answer. And I also think that us XRP holders also want to get the answer as well as to why it was removed from the green list, because the fact of the matter is that the New York residents can now not trade XRP. So it's obviously going to be very disappointed for them. And in relation to the ruling, it just really doesn't make sense as to why they took them off. From XRP drops, we have over here $11.3 trillion worth of tokenized financial assets by 2030. The APAC region is pioneering the integration of blockchain in capital markets. So we know tokenization is a big thing. Tokenization is being embraced by regulated financial institutions, especially through the ability to fractionalize ownership of high value assets like bonds and real estate. And these high value assets, of course, can be apportioned greatly. For example, if you have real estate, let's say it's worth $1 million, instead of getting one specific buyer to purchase that real estate up in one transaction, you can obviously create 1 million tokens, and then you have that fractional ownership. And this number actually came from a forecast from Boston Consulting Group, and the only real holdup is regulatory uncertainty. So this is the only thing that is essentially blocking us and is our barrier. But Hong Kong and Singapore is to be the beginning of an emerging consensus, though notably not the US or mainland China, about a same risk, same regulation approach to tokenized securities. So it seems like as if the APAC region is going to be at the forefront of this. And I'm all for tokenization, and tokenization happens in many different aspects as well. Now, Metico came out with this tweet just yesterday saying, as the digital revolution reshapes the financial landscape, APAC is pioneering the integration of blockchain in capital markets. Our CGO highlights the region's leadership in tokenized securities. And with that, we also know that Ripple has entered a $10 trillion crypto custody market with Metico in the HSBC Partnership. Pretty big stuff. So Ripple has now partnered with HSBC in order to ease regulatory hurdles for HSBC's clients. And that this is the projection of the custody market. And obviously the goal is to have that institutional crypto adoption, and the services will be ranging from covering XRP ledger access, tokenization, and seamless payment solutions. And more detailed information is actually within this at Thinking Crypto's interview with David Schwartz, where he reveals all of this. And we have over here, due to the rising trend of tokenization, we are seeing big players, big partnerships, and the fact that HSBC is partnered with Ripple through that Metico just goes to show the bullish indicators that we have for us. Now, before I have a look at the price action for today, I just want to show you what Anthony Pompliano has said in relation to the crypto market.
Donative, you have kind of the ETF, you have other kind of stocks tied to the crypto industry, but then you have things that are actually decentralized, things that live in Web3, a word that we don't hear a lot anymore on these programs. Where is the value anymore as an investor? Do you start to look at more mainstream Bitcoin and the Bitcoin related products that have attached to Wall Street, or do you look into Web3?
Well, I think it's all the same thing, right? If you really think about it, Bitcoin was the one that kicked off this entire revolution. When you look at the monetary competition, I think Bitcoin is by far the winner. Now there's going to be a big technology competition. And really, when you look at this sector, I think a lot of people want to put it in a separate bucket, but I look at this just as another macro asset that you can go in and you can invest in. And so what we have seen seen is young people specifically are putting their capital into this sector. This sector has outperformed drastically. Even with the recent pull down, Bitcoin is still up like 75% or something. And so I think that investors who want to have outperformance, they're going to have to allocate to this sector. And the ones that continue to fight it, they're just going to get left behind.
And in terms of Bitcoin as well, we have obviously seen that retracement, and it did actually go to $38,000 just a few days ago. However, it has actually been able to make a nice recovery. It went to 40k just yesterday. Now we are currently trading at 41.1k. And so what he's essentially saying here is that when it comes to these massive pullbacks, don't get distracted with everything that is going on. Obviously know what you hold, because that is what is going to help you out in this crypto market. So let's take a look at the price action for XRP coin today. We are currently trading at 0.5187. And on the 1 day chart, we are actually up by 2.2%. So pretty nice. At least we are seeing some sort of green, as we usually don't, and we are in the red. For the volume, we are up by 9.28%, and we are trading at $871.1 million. So in the earlier hours of the morning, we were actually trading at 0.5092, so just under that 1 cent from where we are now. And then we've seen this nice climb up here all the way to 0.5209. Pretty good stuff. On the 7 day chart, we are down by 5.53%. We have obviously taken a massive hit for this week. Now, if we see this massive dip that we took to 0.5005, that was on the 23rd of January, not so long ago now, we have pretty much made a nice slight recovery. We did go to a high over here at 0.518, and we have actually taken a dip to 0.5067. And whilst we don't have massive support in terms of the 50 cent level, it does seem like as if we could potentially be climbing back up. We are actually down by 17.49%, but obviously that change has been better, because yesterday we were down by 20% on the 1 month chart, as we have now picked back up. I definitely want to see XRP coin get to the 53 to 55 cent range. Let's see though if it can make a nice upward movement to the 53 cent mark. It is literally just under 2 cents that we need to move, so we need a bit more price action for XRP, but it has very much been stagnant, and so I understand everyone's frustration. But I will be covering all of the news for Ripple XRP coin. So guys, if you want daily news on this, subscribe to the channel and like the video as well.